Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Om Brahmanandam Param Sukhadam Kevalam Jnanam Urtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasya Lakshyam Takam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami Om. Adoration to Sadguru, who is Brahman, the giver of supreme bliss, embodiment of pure consciousness, one without a second, vast as the ether, infinite, eternal, beyond the three gunas and their modifications, the supreme preceptor. Yoga Vasistha, Upashama Prakarana, section 34. Great devotee Prahlad continues to practice reflection, a process of allowing the mind to become so settled that you have a profound conviction of who you are. The whole process called Nishchaya. You look at your mind, nothing is Nishchaya, everything is shaking. But the most important object, or whatever you call it, for the mind, because the mind is always busy doing so many things, but it misses what is most important. And where will you find it? The most important is you. I am. So allow your mind first to handle this profound lottery. You are the winner of treasure. Treasure beyond measure. You have won it. See, perfectly sure. What I'm leading to make you understand. That's the Upanishadic truth. Aham Brahmasmi. All religions have the same echo. I am that. This I am in you is the absolute, containing the entire universe of past, present, and future, and dumping them all. Try to understand allegorically. The sun creates a vast universe of illuminations, and day by day dumps them. Next day, another vast. So the creation and Brahman has the same relation. The creation is illuminations of Brahman, brought about through Maya, illusion. For whom it is real? For the conditioned mind. It is not real for the enlightened mind. For enlightened mind, Brahman alone is. For conditioned mind, Brahman is, but also this all illumination. Illumination look better than Brahman. Yes. Illumination look more entertaining than the sun up there. Just glows all, blinding your eyes. In a humorous way, I'm trying to give you a simple way to understand. So, coming back, what is the most important? And your mind misses it. Day by day. And your mind is so busy trying to secure things that can never be secured. Even a kid can understand it. And all our grown-up kids, they're still running after things they have seen in history. Great, powerful kings owning so much, and they ultimately departing, taking nothing. Millions of Alexanders have come and gone with the wind. And yet the mind is so engrossed in securing this world or any part of the world, or at least your money in the bank. When you hear this, I'm not negating the practical value and the way everybody needs to handle the practical. But I'm trying to explain that in spite of all this, even in daily life, in spite of all the things you do, who is looking over you? The sky. And you never look at the sky with that deep understanding. Allegorically, I'm trying to say, in spite of all this is happening, your deeper level is like the sky, untouched. And that level is leading you, revealing your essential nature. You are not the body. You are not also the individual soul that incarnates. You are that Brahman, the Absolute. All reflected suns have their different stories to tell. But every reflected sun essentially is the sun. And though you count countless reflected suns, the reality is only one sun. Use that easy simile to understand there is one Brahman, Absolute. Through every conditioned mind, countless minds, that Brahman has become, appears like reflected Brahman, that's Jiva, soul within you. Soul that is identified with mind, body, and so forth. And every soul has lots of stories to tell, lot of turmoil. But the reality behind every soul is that one Absolute Brahman. That Brahman includes all the souls. If you are uniting yourself with Brahman, you have, allegorically speaking, inspired all reflected suns. You have helped them in the best way possible. Now, coming back to the storyline, in the words of Yoga Vasistha, Prahlad is reflecting within himself, thereby allowing the mind of the spiritual seeker to learn lessons of how to practice reflection. The dull-witted alone would renounce this glorious state of liberation for the sake of the limited pleasures of the world. When you hear about liberation, kingdom of heaven, salvation, nirvana, all that doesn't much excite people. When you hear about the lottery of billions of dollars, that excites us. Put it more in a maturer way. Mind is so involved with the illusion that you have to secure permanency here in this world. You have to secure your happiness. And mind always has its own data. It has its Google source. Every mind has its own interpretation. This is what, if this happens, I'm going to be very settled. Knowing that you can never be settled. But practical life is okay. But as long as you understand that it's a progressive movement. In brief, if your mind continues to be so entangled by the world that you do not have even the slightest window you have not opened to understand who am I? Where have I been millions of years? And what will it be for me as millions of years wait? And who am I at present? That who am I, that I am. And who gives you information? Your satsanga, study of scriptures. And if you practice integral yoga in daily life, it becomes much more effective. So first point, if you don't let your mind in your lifetime flow towards who am I, then you have lived in vain. And you will continue to be vain from life to life. And all the pride that you have developed about what you have done, filled your house with pictures of your achievement, every wall. In modern times, with lots of CDs. All that has no real fulfillment. Your real fulfillment is a revelation. Who am I? That I am fully revealed through your mind, fully understood. All else is perishable, no matter how much enjoyable may be. They're all perishable. So therefore, if you do not become eager, you do not develop aspiration for self-realization, then you are a dullwit. In Vasishtha's words, rather in words of Prahlad, they are like camels who turn away from tender flowers to feed on thorny bushes. Make a camel a pet. Take the pet in the garden. Show beautiful flower. Camel has no interest in that. So the thorny bushes with a cock, somebody go on them. And the camel will catch the thorns and enjoy it. Chew it right before you. And you have no way to instruct the camel. Your life can give wonderful blossoms of virtues. But you have a camel spirit. You don't care. Time passes by, you have not practiced pranayama, no yoga exercises, nothing to control your body and mind. All that you have been doing, picking up thorns, chewing them. And nature then plans to make your tongue and your saliva so apt that the thorn becomes soft. Then what do you get? You have to carry big burden. Camels have to. And you go on carrying it until one little weight breaks the camel's back. That stage comes when you have developed this vairagya, this passion. Having tasted the sweetness of divine bliss, the pleasures of the world have become bitter and essenceless. Talking about himself and those who have developed spiritual sensitivity, they begin to understand the pleasures that appear like flowers for the masses. They are like thorns. Sarvam dukam vivekina. All the pleasures of the world that divert your mind from God, they are actually source of immense trouble, pain. People say, no gain without pain. But their definition of gain is in itself bigger pain than you can imagine. So suffering pain in order to gain which is not a gain. And do it again and again. Who will abandon the sweet essence of the sugar cane and run after the bitter juice of maragasa leaves, considered neem leaves? Of course, if you are Ayurvedic, you will like it. Who will turn away from the heavenly gardens and revel in the burning sands of a desert? The real estate choice. Build a house in a wonderful garden, heavenly setup, or desert. So, naturally, your choice will be that wonderful garden. But then, why is it you are not using that type of choice? This world is a desert. All names and forms are blown away by the wind of time. And whatever seems to stand before you is sand particles come together, creating pillars, creating so many forms. In desert, you go there and find Many wonderful forms, pillars, things rise like temples. But that's all nothing but the modification of the desert. I'm leading you on to a long stretch. Implying that whatever you are looking in the world, no matter how wonderful, but it is nothing but perishable. Every part of it is perishable. How will you know it? The wind of time will blow it away. That's what desert does. The only thing real is the wind blowing and desert sands flying up to save your eyes. Who will renounce the vision of the all-pervading self and become confined to the limited mortal body? The choice, stay a kid or grow up normal. When you have that choice, of course you will grow up normal. But consider now in a different way, to view yourself confined to the body, flesh, blood, bones, and a lot of confusion. No one's body is free of confusion. Always some infusion goes on. So to stay permanently with the body or to emerge out of it and realize I am that, I am all that is, I am Brahman, I am Satchidananda, existence, knowledge, bliss, absolute. Being identified with the body is just like cornered in a vast palace. A little mouse has been cornered in a little corner of the house. It has no ability to enjoy all the palace. Every individual led by karma has become a little rat. The vast universe, you are just somewhere, a speck of dust. When the higher news is brought to you, then how can you stay the way you are? Why don't people seek the self instead of running after the perishable glories of the world? Days and months pass by, and what people enjoy listening to what is happening. And in that happening, we hear about the glories of great dictators and Hitlers and so forth, and also good people. But most of the glories you are hearing about are perishable. The mind is so trapped by all worldly news, etc. Internal, when you face your house, that also is a world of news. Everywhere you turn, someone informs you, black pepper is missing. I'm joking, but you have to understand. Fill the gap by your imagination. Constantly mind has been dealing with all these petty things. And what is the most important? Attaining, realizing immortality, becoming one absolute that enfolds all that your mind can think of, enfolds a world of all that you can think of the past, future, present. With that possibility, it's not possibility, that's a reality. That's the destiny of your soul, whether you like it or not. Even having attained the kingdom of the three worlds, in reality, nothing is gained. Whenever they talk about kingdom of three worlds, people generally have their imagination. The one world is Earth planet, another world somewhere in other higher planets, another world somewhere in the Milky Way, but there's nothing to do with it. Three worlds are the world that you experience through your senses, practical reality. Second world is the world you experience through your sentiments, feelings. Thirdly, the world you experience through your understanding. All these are the three worlds you are always living in. And any type of power or strength you define in the terms of how much you can control the physical world or allow your sentimental world to be fulfilled or your intellectual world to have great thrill. So everyone has three worlds, three lokas. In spite of all the lokas, you are a loco. Because these lokas are not real. God behind them is the reality. Brahman is the reality, and that Brahman is your own very self. Aham Brahmasmi. So even if you attain all that you can attain in the physical world, in the world of your sentiments, in the world of your intellectual understanding, you may attain all, but actually have gained nothing. In your dream, you suddenly become a big emperor, and hardly your lordship is being celebrated. You wake up. You get nothing. It is the power of the self that expresses as a luminosity among the luminous objects. Now, coming to more practical way, this teaching is given that then how can you attain that your own essential nature? Allow your mind not to take things as they are. Use a penetrating vision. It's the glory of God, God's presence, that makes water such a part of your life. Without water, nobody can live. Water doesn't know it. How much it can do. But what has given that power to that water? What is behind it? divine. God is the source behind every creation. Everything in this creation, whether it's physical, psychological, mental, God is the reality behind. So now, in your sentiments, in your understanding, in the world you are experiencing, let your keen discriminative vision recognize the presence of God. Suddenly wonderful thoughts came in your mind. Recognize. From where did they come? You didn't connect to Google. Behind that, there is a divine source. So behind your thoughts, glorious thoughts, the glory goes to God. Behind your wonderful words, the glory goes to God. Behind your health, the glory of your vitality goes to God. The blossoming flower and its beauty, the glory of God is expressing it. The glory of God is expressing through your eyes. What lies before you? Every part of your body is singing the praise of God. I stretched it too much, but the more practical point that is, wherever you find something inspiring, try to understand, turn your mind to God. And therefore, the world around you becomes a powerful satsanga. Because you develop a spiritual sensitivity. Consider the lilies of the field. How do they grow? See, Jesus was not talking about all the politics of his time. But one little lily inspired him. The power of the self that expresses a luminosity among luminous objects. Anything luminous reminds you of the presence of God. Nectar in the moon, the nectar in shower. Your mind goes into God. And God, where? Your own heart. Who? You. So I am shining through the moon. I am surging as ocean. I am blowing in the wind. That I am is far beyond the I am that has entered your mental process. That I am that you use day by day is the shoes of this big I am. That's why each time you go to sleep, your ego shoes are kept away from your bed. In other words, the ego drops away and you don't even know it. But all through the day, it is ego that all is what you are. And turning to Sagun Brahman, omniscience in Lord Shiva, victory in Lord Vishnu, and various powers in various gods. All these godly glories that you hear from the scriptures. Behind them all, whose glory is shining through Indra, Vishnu, Brahma, Shiva? Brahman. And it is Brahman's glory is, look at the speed in your mind. All the characteristic qualities of elements, how each element performs tremendous functions. I have the power of austerity in the ascetics, of movement in the divine vehicles, of immutability among the mountains. See this firmness, unshakableness in mountains. What does it remind you? Divine, God behind it. And profundity among the ocean. I am the void of the nihilists, turning to different views of life that also, behind every view that inspires so many people, whose presence is making that so powerful. Even those who say nothing exists, there is no God, but see how much strength they are using, by whose sake? God behind. I am the vastness of the sky, the beauty of spring, the heat of summer, the rumbling of rain clouds. And Lord's hurricane in hurricane. I am the essence of all that exists. Imagine, when you see the world and you are constantly shaken, come to that high stage. You are seeing your power exploding through the hurricanes, blowing through the wind, softly smiling through the flowers, towering over you in the form of the sky, shining in the form of the moon and the sun, and so forth. You are looking at yourself. Try to enjoy your own sights instead of going into your room and looking for your pictures. Now, to make it a little more practical, Godward movement, you must realize, this is the ideal you are reading. But to reach the ideal, you have to face 3 stages in your personality, day by day. The stage where your body is more important for your mind. So bodily state, view yourself as identified with body, you are a channel of God's will. You are a slave, God is the master. And that type of relation is totally of an inspiring level, not the way people talk about slave, not a slave trade. That God is protecting you, you are in the hand of God. So that aspect has to come when you deal with your body, with your practical realities. From your point of view, do everything that your common sense dictates. Your common sense says, in situations that you can't understand, go to those who are experts, who understand them. Handle your every situation with perfect precision. But while you are doing it, understand behind all that, if you succeeded, you must realize God made the miracle through you. If you failed, deep down understand it's something that has hit you. But then you understand also, thank God, I was going to do something wrong. Something wrong was going to happen. And God is giving me a hit. All this doesn't happen immediately, but you have to go on keeping in your heart how to view adverse situations. Don't view them as completely nonsense. God should never have done it. But you must realize it is through adverse situations you have discovered inner strength. And by repeated adverse situations, when you hear about the world cannot give you happiness, you can understand it. If you didn't have that, you would understand it. And your faith has been tested again and again with a precise examination. So, God-ward relation starts making you cool, calm, patient, facing adversity, prosperity. Deha buddhya tu daso, that one stage. Jiva buddhya tvadanshaka. Now each time you relax, turn your mind to prayer. Join Rama in any stage of his life. If you like child Rama, play with, see the queens in, I'm giving you a broad way to understand. In other words, in this plane your mind has bigger dimension. And how much you begin to play with God himself. Tadanshaka, you are a part of God. You are a part of God, God can't get away from it. So no matter where you are, God is with you. And that, what does that imply? Therefore, develop divine virtues. Every situation is challenging you to develop a virtue. Strength, patience, unshaken faith, intelligence. All these begin to come. And the most advanced way of saying, you are competing with God. Live to emulate the glory of God through your life. The idea to develop divine quality, your mind should not say, I can't do that much. No, you are competing with, if God can have it, I will have it. And have the courage to bring in your heart, Shivoham, Satchidananda Swarupoham. I am God. Don't be upset if he hears. He also listens to it. I'm joking. Tvadanshaka, that stage where you are asserting, I am a part of God. If God is sun, I am his ray of God. And then come to the highest level. Aham Brahmasmi. I am. I and God have no difference. a reflected sun and the real sun. They can't shake hands. God alone is. So in your deep, quiet mind, settle down with Aham Brahmasmi. But mind that is developing a little purity, sattva, then entertain the idea that you can be godly. Everything in you can be sublime. And in practical world, view yourself a channel of God. You do various things, and when people give you credit, instead of accepting it at the level of your ego, which makes your ego inflated, accept it in a deeper level. Glory to God. Everything that you are able to do that inspires others allows you to understand you are a channel of God. So whether you tell others or not, but that's your feeling is there. Not the feeling, how great am I? Look at those ugly heads. My head is great. Those who have not attained the intuitive vision of the self are like birds trapped in the net of a fowler. Life in this world is just like a bird that has been trapped. And fowler is death. So no matter how you live through your life, you are waiting for the fowl. Fowler makes everything coming to an end. They are in the state of bondage that they themselves created by their own desires and karmic entanglements. The same mind that could have given them good karmas, good conditions, not only that, the mind that could have led the soul to become liberated. That mind, the masses are constantly misusing the mind. Driven by attachment and hatred, deluded by the pairs of opposites, individual souls degrade themselves into lower states, likened to worms and insects. Go in your trip and find a big palace, and your high mind says, how wonderful people must be inside. Open and go inside and find worms and insects. It's a nasty parable. That's the way Yoga Vasistha is portraying. Happy, prosperous, rich people living in wonderful places. But the divine vision sees there are worms. They have no interest in attaining God realization. Such beautiful setup. And worms are enjoying it. Beautiful universe. And worms, countless worms. And with this, we can conclude for tonight. Om Triambakam Yajamai Sugandhim Pushtivardanam Urvarukmubandhana Mrityormukshiyamamritat Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukhabhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Ramaya Hari Om.